Well, the Kill Team Casuals have officially been reunited. It's the terrific trio. We're all back. We're joined, of course, by Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop.
Oh, it's me. I'm here. That is me and my name, and this is my face. Passing it over to Russ from GFN Gaming.
He's back. He's
couldn't
back
remember.
from actual hibernation. I have returned, and I'm passing this
Beat the
thank you
allegations.
over. The what?
And
sorry?
you, is it beat the allegations, man? How have you?
I beat the
Ooh.
allegations.
Yeah, you narrowly escaped. Well, the problem is you haven't been here because you've been on the trial that everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
As
It's been
a-
pretty rough. It's been pretty
Yeah.
rough. But I don't want to say I got lucky, but 14 consecutive jurors disappeared.
Wow.
And they just said for the I mean, they were just like, let's just end this. So they just stopped. I don't want to go into too much detail. I'm still wanted in.
Yeah, you can't.
I think it's Hornby. There's still a death sentence. I mean, something out for me, but they couldn't prove anything, and everyone who tried to disappeared.
Wow.
So here I am.
What luck?
Here I
What
am.
luck?
I beat the system. Congrats me. But no proof that anything happened. No wrongdoing officially. And thank you very much, Reese, for allowing me back on the show, even though I'm borderline felon.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what our
I
policy is
appreciate
here? Guilty until proven innocent. That's the
Yes,
KTC
exactly.
way.
That's the way we do it.
And look, the ankle bracelet at least lets Ben and I know where you are, so that's for our own
Yep.
safety. That's just it's just good. We feel secure in that knowledge, so that's fine.
Until you see that beep coming closer and closer, like he's on the plane, he's
Yeah.
in Sydney. Hell, he's getting.
Oh, geez. A huge thank you to all the legends already joining us in the chat there as well. G'day to Sandy. A huge thank you to Papa Kraken.
Sandy.
22-month
Ooh.
subscription streak for Papa
Ooh.
Kraken. So
What a
thank
legend.
you so much. We've
God
got
bless Papa Crack.
Linford's in there. We've got Tabletop War Masters. We've got Deep Fatty.
Master
We've got
Beard.
John Millick. Thank you so much, everyone who's joining us live. We love having everyone join us. Odes is in there as well. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We love having everyone in there talking nonsense with us as we talk nonsense about this game we love.
What is Papa Kraken talking about? He said he might have to get rid of his hair before he sees Ben. That man has a fine mane of hair.
Ooh.
Papa, don't do it.
Dude, no,
Papa,
we
don't
can
do it.
We can rub manes, dude. We can
Yeah.
Could and should.
rub our manes together.
Man alive. If him and Lynn,
I got a
if him
question for you,
if
Vince.
him and Linford ever got together and had some sort of weird, like, kill team infused baby, that would be the greatest hair on a child ever. Linford's beard, Papa Kraken's hair. That would be Ben. That would be basically Ben. Yeah,
Yo,
a more
Vince,
handsome
what kind
Ben,
of-
if that's possible.
I'm scumming it out on my phone right now, so I don't have the chat up. What kind of shampoo are you using, Vince? I gotta know, 'cause I'm a simple
This is
Head and
it.
Shoulders man, but I bouge it out when it comes to the conditioner. I'll say it
mean-
here. I'll confess it publicly. I've got a bit of a dandruff issue, so the medicinal qualities of Head and Shoulders really is the only thing potent enough to cut through. But when it comes to the conditioner, I do go the bougie route, and I'll use some of my wife's like coconut, oil stuff,
Nice.
bougie $80 conditioner. But
Crack a
but
couple of
let's
eggs
put-
on there.
I
Put it in the
pictured it was
chat,
like
Vince.
one of those 17-in-1 kind of generic shower washes. It's like it washes everything. It's like for hair, eyes, mouth, some mouthwash.
eyes, yeah.
The eyes.
Yeah, what do you scrub your eyes with? Koala
Yeah.
juice? Reese?
Well,
What are you doing?
straight up
Just-
eucalyptus. Okay,
Open them
Straight
and then
in
a
there.
toothbrush like that. That's how it's done.
Oh,
Herbal,
jeez.
just because Ben doesn't have the chat, I'm going to say herbal essence, argan oil, shampoo, and conditioner.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yep.
I knew it would be good.
Oh, a two.
I mean,
in
this
one.
is
would be good.
obviously all
A two in
beyond
one.
me.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
You
one
haven't
walked
showered
in.
since 2003, I think, right?
Oh, man alive, this is bleak. This
And no one walked in going, man, I hope the Kill Team Casual show, when they all get back together, I hope they cover
is about hair.
hygiene and hair washing
Yeah.
straight out the
Yeah.
gates. Like that's what we've been missing in our lives.
Yeah.
Well, a smooth segue into our topic for today. We're talking about stinking at tournaments. and how not
yeah.
to.
Ooh.
So that's today's topic. Have you
I
guys
won a
ever-
tournament recently.
You won a
What?
tournament.
I won a tournament recently.
Is that
I'm
where
gonna.
you've
I'm gonna.
been on the celebration tour, the
Well,
worldwide?
I killed a man and then I had to run away. But before I killed a man, I mean allegedly. No. Yeah. So I did a team tournament.
Oh, nice.
I was. So I'm gonna say, I won. I was in the winning team.
Okay.
So I got gold. I was in the winning team. I took Vespers. We did an orc themed team. I'm going to shout out to Molson's Maniacs. Molson's Maniacs. We was all orc. I had my orc Vespers. We had Molson Ryan playing with his wreckers, and we had Meech around Connor with his commando. So we went all orc themed. We
fun.
almost painted our faces green, but Connor flat out refused. He's like, it's too hot. We'll look stupid. I think we'd look stupid regardless, but whatever.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah,
ours
it
is
was.
pretty stupid. Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, we either look stupid with or without green paint running down our faces. I'm not sure there's that much difference. I think the difference is largely in your head, Connor. But yeah, we we did try and like game it out a little bit. So I did lose all 3 of my games.
I love that you're already like we gamed it out. That's a new way I'm gonna when I lose
I love
my
how
game.
you started
Well,
with.
it's just
I love how you
gaming
started
it
with.
out a bit.
I won a tournament.
Let's rewind. I won a tournament.
I won a tournament. I
won.
welled that back to I was in a winning team, and then the final truth is I lost all my games.
So it was
yeah.
your
Take you
job
one
to
for the
jump on the
team.
grenade.
Take
You were
one
jumping
for
on the grenade.
Yeah, I took. To be fair, I played each. You know, when you look back at the strength of schedule, I had the hardest strength of schedule of the day. But then when you think about it, if I'd won one of those games, it probably wouldn't have been the hardest schedule, right? Because then they would have lost.
Because they would add
But anyway, yeah, because they would have had a different outcome. Because they would have. But yeah, so I played Phobos into. So long ago, I forget. I've had like 2 holidays since then. But I played Phobos into. He was a lovely guy. I think he was from kind of like Birmingham ways, but he's part of Deadwood, which is. I think his name's Mike. I'm really sorry if he's. To be fair, if he was listening at the time it happened, it would have been like 3 episodes ago. So he's probably not listening now. But if he was, I think his name was Mike. He was lovely. They were all quite big dudes. You know, when you go to a tournament, there's always one ridiculously large dude, like swole. Normally it's me, obviously. No. So it was just one of this dude. He was like massive. I didn't play him. But it was they all seemed really nice. But I played Phobos against their team leader, and I lost like 11-13 because it was
close.
on.
That's pretty close for Phobos.
I was going to say that wasn't too bad. I think that was roughly the score. I can't remember. It was a while ago now. It might have been slightly less, but it wasn't a bad score. So I lost Connor and his opponent Drew, and then we won the other one. But because our win was better than our loss, like our win was better than their win, we won the first one. We eked it out. And then I went into basically it was it was down to the wire. Then we were like, oh wow, we won that one. Okay, great. And then I went into Sanctifiers on Sanctifiers on Volcus. And that was not a great one. That was a pretty rough game.
Did you win?
That was pretty rough. I took the loss on that.
There, tell us, what was the score?
Yeah.
What was the score there?
Ben says you lost,
23? Like it was like 23 to me. It was the thing is it was me and Ben as well. So it was A&M is the team I play for, and we were aggressive Northern Meta, and we were into the other 3 aggressive Northern Meta teams. So we were killing each other's dreams.
Friendly fire.
Yeah, basically. So Palin's lovely, but he is mean Ben, and he's like if he goes to tournaments, he's a top 10, top 5 player in the UK. So he's very good. So to be fair, I wanted to play him because it's always a fun game and it's always quite testing. But I failed that test at 20 points to 3 or something ridiculous. I might have even scored less, but it was a bad loss. And then the final game was into Deadwood. So we'd won 2 games. I've lost flat out.
Yeah.
But we're into the final now on 2 losses. And then I go into their team leader on Beta Decima again into Goremongers. So Goremongers into
Oh,
Vespids. And I'm like, oof, this is like this felt rough because I was like, they're quite fast. And I am fast. But once they catch me, they're good.
You can't kill them. You also can't kill them.
No, I can't. See,
it's literally impossible. You take 2 activations to maybe kill one of them.
Yeah. So
God forbid they heal up.
This was pretty decent. So I think the other game must have been like 11-16. This game was the 13-11. So it was quite tight, which I take as almost a win. So there's a few times where if he'd got 1 less wound on the D3 heals, because it was 2 D3 healing, if he'd got 1 less, I would have been able to kill a couple of operatives. But because they healed to more than 8, it became impossible for me to, like, I got the activation. I was like, well, he goes first, he's going to heal that person D3 and 2D3, and then when he would do that at the end, so I was getting them down, and then they were healing back up, and then it was like, it's not possible for me to kill them now because I only have 3 guys left, and I could have maybe, but then it was just so. Yeah, so I ended up losing that one again. Not bad, 13-11, but 3 losses, and then basically I was just like chilling because I was like, well, my job is done, and then I had to wait on the Big Meech, Connor, and Ryan to win their games, so that I could get, and I got a gold medal. Like, it's ridiculous. I came in, I got a 0-3, and walked away with the win. So
that's unprecedented.
Yeah.
I would say.
Congratulations to your other 2 teammates. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They played a great game.
You played a game, and you played a game. Dude.
I played 3 games. Arguably, I was not even playing Kill Team. But it ended, and when it's one of those things where like the smoke clears, and I was like, man, that was brutal. I won. What? And I was like, and it just happened. So so that was fun.
Walked up to the podium, shell shocked, all bedraggled after 3 games.
Oh man,
like,
I had the biggest smile at the podium. I was looking out a sea of people who've beaten me, going like, this is great. So yeah, that was quite fun. But yeah, there was Deadwood.
It's also pretty great. It's pretty awesome to force, because you had what, Phobos, Signifiers, and Goremongers.
Yeah,
3 like A or S tier teams, and just making them fight Vespids.
Yeah,
like you came to this tournament to take your top level sweat and your top level teams and crush.
And someone wakes up with Vespids.
Yeah, waste it on Vespids. Sure, you're gonna win, but waste all that kill power on Vespids, you dirtbag. Yeah, I love that.
I hope you feel good about yourself. Like every game, do you feel good? I got a question. This is just from listening to your story there, Russ. Because when I went to the tournament up in Sydney, it was obviously a couple months ago now, but I was expecting, because we knew that Sanctifiers were the hotness. They'd just come out. Everyone knew that they were broken, and there was players that definitely playing. There's a golden ticket on the line, so that there was a chance to go to Worlds and stuff like that. Nobody took Sanctifiers. Like, I think it was a bit of an unspoken rule that out of an absolute mess ton of players, even like a person who may have just had no idea whether it was good form, bad form, took them. And I was super surprised. I was like, there's going to be a few. There's going to be a couple of players that were like, this is the team to take because they're broken. Is there an unspoken etiquette about it? Or do you think that there should be in tournament stuff like that when a team first drops, if they're a bit awful, that we have to wait till they get their first little bonk on their head? Like, as you found with Sanctifiers, Russ going 20-3.
Thing is, I'm not sure. I mean, the opponent, there was a difference in opponents, but I'm not. I kind of think the Goremongers, for me, now feel like the winner out of that. But I know it's different about how they play. I really like the Goremongers.
That's interesting.
But I'm not sure if
I just mean that broken release schedule for a lot of teams. You know what I mean? Yeah, a lot of time we see a box set comes out and there's that one team. Sanctifiers was the current example. But we've seen it a lot before.
Yeah, I think I felt it the most when the Night Lords Mandrake spot came out, and the Mandrake
Mm.
team I know that's last edition now, but when they first came out, and their rules were just horrific, and it was like they came out and they're like, every other team that's got this had it amended and stuff like that, so you can't just they just literally could not be shot, even if you were like it was something ridiculous, and it was I remember that coming out, and the first tournament I went to, the people running that team, and they were just so apologetic, but it's like I mean, you're saying sorry, but you did bring a team that you
Yeah, you're still
knew
here.
you would
How
you would
sorry
have
are
to
you?
I'm looking at you, Nemesis. I remember it was I had a mate who ran them, and I always run into him at tournaments. And he's a great player, to be fair, Simon. But he brung
But we're calling you out.
Mandrakes when they came out, and yeah, and calling him out because he was like, I've taken the most. I think he won a tournament with Sanctifiers actually the week they came out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he
He's
loves
that
a good
guy.
meta. He's a
Yeah.
rat. He's a meta rat. No, he's lovely. He is lovely, but yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Hey, two things can be true. Two things can be
yeah,
true. You know what I mean?
he can be lovely and a meta rat. This
Yeah.
is true. I mean, it'll never happen. I mean, the thing is, there's some more tournaments now. What I really like is there's some local groups running like D-list tournaments. They're like, we're running a tournament. You can only use teams that on this tier list are below A. You can only do B, C, and D. Like
That's cool.
and there's like I think that's a really nice idea. Like you're not going to get a lot of people wanting to go. Maybe not. Maybe they will because maybe they'll see. But I think the nature of competitive play, people will be going to that to have a fun time, or they'll see a team they think is great be
Well,
listed
yeah.
low and take it and be like, I'm going to snake them all. But I don't know.
Sometimes
I think Kill
those
Team is
teams
too
that can
sweaty.
slide under the radar. It's they're on that tier because maybe
Yeah.
not many people are playing them, or because
mean-
the teams on S and A tier are their nemesis teams that they can't beat, but you take them out of the mix and they're the obvious choice.
Suddenly, if they're not in the mix, they become a better. So I mean, sometimes I feel sometimes I drink the Kool-Aid and think the Vespids are great. You'll have a good match with them, and you'll be like, you know what, this team is good. They should be at least B tier. And then I actually just look at the stats and the averages and go, oh yeah, I'm maybe hitting once.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and they'll hit. Yeah, so I'm maybe punching one damage through, and it's not going to be crit. Oh, okay, this is a terrible team. This is just this is a patently terrible team.
I'm
But
with you. I want
sometimes-
them to be good. A lot
Yeah.
of teams that I'm, you want to have their moment in the sun. I still feel like they're yet to have it. Maybe sometime soon.
They never will. I got a hot take on
Teams
Vespids,
won't.
dude.
They're
They'll just
done.
never be good. They'll just never be good. You gotta accept it. They'll never be good. It's one of those teams. They're fundamentally, I think, broken, and I just think they'll never be good. As much
It's a
as it breaks
shooting
my
team that hits on fours.
That's it's such
yeah, it sucks, dude. And like,
It doesn't. The maths don't maths on that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No way to
exactly.
change their APL. They have to move to be able to be somewhat decent at shooting. So, and because they're not, it's a team that's entirely dependent on you rolling natural crits. And that is not a special. That's not a good team.
Have been
Yeah, it's like
practicing?
Rekka's in that way, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
in Rekka's, you're gonna roll those natural sixes. It's a little different, but
So many
Rekka's
guys, yeah.
they're only so good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they can Vespids are just they can only do what they can do, and so it's tough. Like they're just so limited on what they can do just because of the rules of engagement that they are just locked into. It's kind of tough for them. It sucks. They're such a cool team, though. A lot of love for them.
Record. I don't know if it's been so long. I don't know if we've been talking about records, but there's been a few things that I've like heard mates say that they were just like, if they're on engage, they're 3 APL. If they're on conceal, they're 2. Stuff like that that would just make them
That's
a
always
little
been
bit
my-
more.
Yeah, that's always
That would
been
be
my
nice.
thought is the engage on 3 APL because
Yeah.
it's funny. You'll see sometimes in a tournament, like in a top 8, you'll see like Rekkas will place like 8th or 6th or something like that, never higher, and it's just they have so much raw damage output, and they can
Yeah.
body. If a good player is on them, they can body the mid tables just on raw damage output.
Yeah.
But outside of that, they just can't play the game like this. There's only so much they can do. I think there's a few teams out that that are like that right now out in the meta.
I mean, they've got insane potential, haven't they? Because if you hit
Oh,
with
yeah.
2 and you put 5 damage to on like a 4/5 weapon, I mean that is nuts. That you can't even before you put roll saves, you're taking like like
Yeah.
a shed ton of damage. You're taking 12 damage even before you've made any saves. And it's like, man, like there's a lot of teams that can hand up to that. But yeah, they just you think they would do so well, but they do kind of crumble to certain matchups. I've seen some people do well with them. I know Nick Collins was running them quite well, but then he just stopped running them because he was like, they're not really consistent enough. They can just win. They're another team that's dependent on the roles, which is it's great for orcs because it feels very thematic, but it's very swingy in terms of like competitive play where you have to be running averages and be like, well, I have to run an average on this, and it's so swingy with orcs on the records. It's kind of hard to do that, but still a fun game, still a fun team, super fun. But
I don't think you'll have a boring game with them, which is good news. Which is like, and I guess there's probably teams like that, isn't there, where it's like they might be better, but is it a bit more of a necessarily like people? The Cassican are a great example. Everyone's like, they're just the most boring team in the world. They're also not very good. But, like there are some teams that innately have fun, chaotic play styles. And then there's others that are just like, yeah, I'd still rather play that though and have that element of chaos about it.
Yeah.
Into the out of, as I said, for 3 months, so 4 month subscription. So thank you so much for joining in. Really appreciate that. G'day to Jeff in their chat as well.
That's shout out to Sam. Into the out of is Sam. He's a local, and shout out to Sam. We had a tournament over the weekend for a game called Free Blades, and I placed third, and Sam placed first at this tournament. Free Blades, yeah. Free Blades.
Is Free Blades the Imperial Knight?
No, Free Blades is a like little mom and pop game that's been around for like 15 years. And it's really, really cool. Imagine D&D meets Kill Team, and that's what it is. You're rolling D&D dice. It's kind of a crazy game. It's very fun, very zany. The models are very charming in like an old school fantasy way. And so we had our first tournament. We had like 30 players or something like that, and Sam won. So shout out to Sam. I placed third, and Sam placed first. It was a great time.
Nice, man.
So when you placed third, how many games did you actually win though? Just checking because now
that's the real test.
3 out of 4. 3 out of 4. And
wow.
And one of the downsides of this game is that sometimes there's some funky missions, and the last mission was just Crazy Town, where it's like in Kill Team, especially my Kill Team brain, it's like, okay, everything is symmetrical. It's like it's all pure skill. It's like, okay, how does the last mission work? There are 6 objectives on the board, and you roll for every objective marker. Each one scatters d6 inches in a random direction.
Oh, wow. So, that is crazy.
So like that's the kind of game that we can be playing. It's very zany and very fun. And so I lost the last mission because we were playing Crazy Town, and just things didn't go my way, and it was but it's very fun. It's a super fun game. And yeah, thank you, Sam, for subbing, dude. What a champ. Sam is the one, by the way. Shout out to Sam. Sam's the one that beat me in a 40K teaching game. And he brought 30 Possessed into my little baby World Eaters, and just beat me to the pulp. So that's Sam. Shout out to Sammy
Maybe
boy.
You shouldn't shout him out. Maybe Sam needs to have a good hard think about it himself.
Shout out to Sam. I was like, all right, Sam, I need you to hold my hand here, and he was like,
He takes your hand by the wrist and makes you slap yourself in the face with it, and he's like, "That's what I'm gonna do for you."
Yeah. He was like, all right, so here's my 30 Possessed in this Creations of Bio list. I'm you but better. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's do it.
You but better. The Dark Mirror version. I love it.
So good.
One thing I was going to say, we've been in a bit of a lull. Again, a bit of a KT announcement lull. We had all the excitement of what the next box set was, and we saw some models released, and which was very exciting and very cool. But then we've gone. And maybe it was because we were spoiled for a long time, but it has felt like we've gone into a bit of a quiet lull. We used to have like the announcements felt like they were coming thick and fast, and we're getting lots of rule teasers. And it might be because things like obviously there's the new Horus Heresy editions about to launch. Like
it's a dead game, fellas. Hate to say it to you, it's a dead game. No. Game is dead. It's dying. It's on the out and out. It's a dead game.
This is purely
your stuff. Trade it all in while you can.
What I was gonna say is, while I've been sitting back waiting for the new box set, it has got me thinking about, I guess, the hobby side. When you guys see new teams getting released, do you start thinking about like how you're going to paint them when they're released, or are you guys like a? I make my hobby decisions when I hit the table, like when I sit down and I look at my wall of paints, and I'm like, these new Tyranids are going to be this color or a scheme. How do you guys get inspired to think of? Because you're both quite, I don't want to brag for you guys, but award-winning tournament painters. So
I forget that sometimes. It's nice to
tell
hear.
us plebs over here who have not even lost 3 games and won a gold medal. How do you come up with your paint schemes?
Oh man. I think it's different. This is not really a satisfying answer, but for me, it's different all the time. I think
Yeah.
Russ and I's answer will probably be similar here. Is that Russ and I, like every player, we have the factions that we like, and so if there's a Space Marine team, they're probably going to be painted, Blood Angels or Death Watch or what. Like we all have sort of those types.
Yeah.
Like I know you have, like you have a lot of homebrew chapters as well and homebrew factions, Russ. And so like I know you do things that way. I never really know, and so like I've been actually sort of banging my head up against a wall for these new Tyranids coming out, where it's like they look so cool, and the box art is actually, I think the box art is dope. Like one of my big problems with Tyranids is that Tyranids often look like paint by numbers, where it's just like carapace one color, skin different color, and it looks like just some idiot designed it. And but the box art, the new, I think it's Hive Fleet Typhon. It dropped when the new edition of 40K dropped. Looks really good to me, but I always go. I look at lore. I look at old pictures of lore, like 3rd edition stuff, like back when 40K was cool, and try and get inspired that way. That's sort of my process. How about you, Russ?
It's interesting. I do quite a lot of the times. I'll go through Fate. I kind of want to hit all the chapters, and mainly I'm always thinking of chaos. So I'm always thinking like recently I've been in a big. So I went through my world, so my word bearers phase, and I think I'm getting a bit tickled Iron Warriors, just because it's so
We're
fun.
just the same person, dude. We're just the same person. We're just the same effing person.
Yeah, I've been thinking about a lot of that, being like, oh, I'd like some Iron Warriors. And then I'm kind of thinking, I'm trying to do a lot of orc conversion teams, just because I don't know why. I don't honestly know why. Orcs are fun, and it's been quite fun painting them. So I did the orc Vespers, and I was like, it's actually quite fun painting them. So I'm thinking maybe I'll try and Nemesis Claw or I think probably Plague Marines, because I do quite like Plague Marines as orcs.
Plagues are so sick, dude. Oh my god.
There's
actually a really handy guide about how to play them over at Battle Brothers Tabletop. If you wanted to check that out there, Russ, too, if you want some advice.
Dude has 0 charisma. I tried twice to watch that video, and he just kept talking about his hair care routine, and I was like, you know what? As a bold man, I don't appreciate this. But yeah, no, yeah. I was gonna say I'm gonna time it, and I'm gonna sit down and convert myself some orc Plague Marines while I absorb all the information from Ben's Plague Marines guide, so that I can hit the ground running. So that's probably my next conversion team. But when I see the new boxes getting released, part of me, I think oddly now, I like the idea of having everything painted up quite quickly. And because I've got a lot of factions already, just because I bought in hard many years ago. So I already have an AdMech faction, and I already have quite a big Tyranid army. And part of me does old like old man. I do like trying new paint schemes, and but Tyranids is a tricky one. I think Tyranids is probably the most tricky to paint. I kind of similar to, like, part of me likes the idea of almost, and because it's nature, it can be anything, and because it's Tyranids, it doesn't have to. You can go grimdark, you can go 2nd edition where they're all different colors, massive like bright reds. You can go black with almost just red eyes, and that is it. And they all look good on the models, because it's kind of like they are crazy. They can be crazy, kind of amphibian, reptile, dinosaur, any kind of thing you want them to be in terms of that. So the colors, so anything you want it to be, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's so it kind of, unless you know where you're going, it can be quite overwhelming to start it. And quite a lot of the times when you're trying a new paint job, you'll put the base layers on and it'll be like, this looks bad because they're quite bold colors. If you pick bold
Yeah.
colors, I've done it a few
if you've
times
gone
where
bright,
I've painted bold colors and you're like, if you're doing red and you base coat the red, you like the first base coat, it probably looks terrible because maybe it's a little streaky. So you do have to do too thin to it. And I hate doing too thin coats because it
Bloody
takes
hell,
time.
Duncan.
And then, yeah, you end up painting a model that looks terrible. And you're like, well, I'm painting on a color that already looks terrible. And I'm just got to trust the process that it's going to look okay. And it's not until you get 3 highlights deep that you're like, okay, this does look good. But you've really got to get past the stage of it looking bad. And I feel like there's no other team that does that for me like Tyranids, where you have to push through the looking bad phase. And I don't know why. I think it's because Space Marines are so organized. You kind of know how they're going to look. You're like, well, it's power armor. I've painted 1 million power armor. And maybe this is more of I feel like I've painted maybe less Tyranids than I've painted of any other type of faction, because Chaos is just power armor.
Yep.
God, there's nothing quite like Tyranids. So unless you've painted loads, I feel like I go through that phase of them looking bad until they look good. So I think just committing. I don't think there's any way you paint it bad, is as long as like the colors match a little bit and you make sure you push a couple of highlights.
There's a way.
There's
a way. Look, dude, I
Trust
have
me.
seen the absolute ass end of the hobby in my day-to-day life. I see 1,000 used models have come across my desk. There's a way to make them look bad, brother. Trust me. I assure you.
I kind of, I'd love to see it, because I think any color combination, as long as you like pushed contrast, added shit, like I'm sure it could look good. Like it wouldn't look out of place, is kind of what I mean with Tyranids, because they are
okay.
They could be anything you want them to be. Like there's no wrong answer. Whereas there's a wrong answer for an ultramarine. If you paint an ultramarine yellow, he's not an ultramarine. Whereas you don't really have that with Tyranids, do you? Because it's nature. It can be anything. It's just, I guess, executed badly. Or you choose, I mean, maybe you choose red and green, that would look kind of bad. But maybe
Merry
not.
Christmas, Tyranids.
Exactly, yeah. You could be like Christmas.
I've got some red and green. Have you
got some
Tyranids
Christmas?
Yeah, I will send you some pictures. They're at the shop.
Send me some pictures. I'd like to see some Christmas.
I was
be
talking to you the other day, Ben, in the chat about it too, and it's interesting too, especially with something like Tyranids, because of the whole, like, their aesthetic, as you sort of touched on, Russ, too, is so different to everything else. Like everything else, every other team, even the Tau, they've still got armor, pants, and the skin tone. Everything else sort of has that a similar. Even orcs, like you've got green skin tone, but they're usually wearing clothes and they'll have armor and metal and all that stuff. Whereas the Tyranids are so unique in the sense that they are completely, it's all organic, don't panic, lads, it's organic. They're like, and so their shapes and their things, even how you can paint them, is very different. Like I'm excited to paint those, because I haven't painted much of the Tyranid range at all. So I'm excited to have a bit of a crack at that, because it said, yeah, it doesn't, even your traditional edge highlighting doesn't look like it works on them.
Yeah. There's I don't know what the technique's called, but doing like stippling feels like a little bit more natural with a Tyranid. So getting sponge, I feel like if you want to get them quickly, although I love the idea that the coconut crab, it's all over the internet. The coconut crab Tyranid is very cool, but obviously quite time consuming. But it's very cool. And
I played a guy at a tournament who legitimately had his whole army was coconut crab, and it looked unreal. Like it was very cool. I was like, I appreciate that, the time and effort.
I was gonna say it's a nice one. If I had infinite time and infinite patience, maybe a coconut crab army would be on the cards. But alas, I have neither of those things, so not soon.
Do you guys ever do much with, and this might be overthinking it, not everyone goes in this world, but do you guys ever do much with like color theory at all? Like we talked about the Christmas Tyranids there, but do you guys ever look at, I really want to do these guys purple, so what's the complementary color to purple, or what's a color that goes, one Russ has prepared earlier. For those listening, he's holding up a legitimate color wheel.
I do like a color wheel, and I do use a color wheel every now and then. I never bind myself to a color wheel, but it's very good for knowing like secondary colors, not secondary colors, but like complementing colors, and
Complementary.
then split complementary colors, that kind of stuff, triadic colors. It's pretty useful. I quite like it. If you want to know what will pop with another color, it's quite useful. I use it to if I want to do an undercover.
That's
So
where
if
I
I
was
want
just
to
about to
do,
go.
Hmm?
I was just
Go
going
where
there
you,
for the undertones. That's
yeah,
such a good way to just like check the color wheel. It's like boom, I'm going to prime it purple, and I'm going to spray it green from from the
yeah.
top or whatever.
That's why I like purple. Yeah, purple and green is one I like for orc skin. I like to have my orcs, purple undertone on their skin. It's nice. So it's good for that. So like it's probably stuff you'd already know, like orange for blue, and you could look it up. I mean, you don't have to buy one. This is just an easy like Christmas gift for someone. If you've got someone in your life that's a painter, it's like a couple of quid. You can get them a color wheel, but you could get one online. It's not massively, it's not a definite purchase you need to make, but I do use it. Yeah.
I think it definitely adds a bit. I think you can sometimes tell that that's different, especially if you are doing something. What you guys were just talking there with the undertones and that sort of stuff. Because again, that's I guess once you've been doing it for a while, it feels like a normal technique. But for a lot of people, that would be a next level. That's level 2, level 3, starting to think of colors that way, as opposed to everything's just going to have your traditional. I'm going to spray it black and then do like the white from the top above. That you can actually have some fun with those skin tones and all that sort of stuff. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. I definitely think it's worth it. Especially it's not expensive at all. It can be free. But yeah, it's
Yep.
always good having a little bit. But I never used to, but having done it, it's yeah, I think it's useful. I mainly use it, as Ben said, for the the undercolor. I don't tend to let my schemes be done by it, but if I'm doing a main color of a unit, I will try and undercolor it with one of the complementary colors.
Have you
nice way
guys
to do
got
it.
a favorite paint job that you came up, whether it's like a homebrew Space Marine chapter or like a unit of orcs or something you painted a certain way? Is there something that you made up that you were like, I nailed that?
Hmm.
Now you got to think about it. Now you got to quickly turn around and look at the
I
shelving
mean,
units behind you. It's like
Yeah,
I
I'm pretty proud of. I painted up the Plague Marine team I painted up recently. I think it's it's they're green like a standard Plague Marine, but they're not. They're like they go from sort of brown and purplish undertones up to like very bright highlighted greens instead of like the Death Guard green is like a very like drabish
mm,
green, and so they're Death Guard and they're green, but they're at least in my opinion, I feel like they're interesting to look at. And there's like some what I've coined gorget glow, which is
I
like
love a gorget glow.
yeah, dude. When you see like old Space Marine art and like Abaddon's like neck is like glowing red, and to
Yeah.
me that's the coolest Space Marine. So I started doing it on my Iron Warriors for the team that I made to go to Worlds, and I've done some Night Lords as well. I think it's just a really cool way to give some other interest into your. So like these guys, they're purple and brownish undertones up to a bright green, and they've got like this pink gorget glow. And like to me, I think they're sort of interesting to look at. So I'm happy with that. It's your standard sort of color scheme, but just done and executed slightly different. That's kind of cool. But I know Russ has a bunch of cool homebrew stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna say I don't want to keep using the same models, but
it's Vespids, isn't it? It's Vespids, great.
yeah, I mean, but it's the orc vespids.
Yeah.
But I had fun painting them because I do quite like a grim dark style, and these guys I had a bit of a departure. I think I was chatting with Ben about using more whites as an undercoat to get a brighter, more vibrant color. Because I think you were doing your Scott Blorm minis at the time, and you said you get a brighter. So I was like, I'm going to give that more of a go. And I really enjoyed how bright they look. So I quite enjoyed doing that. And it was a bit of a departure from me because I do tend to do more of a black and a more subtle zenithal and then do the colors on top. So I was really enjoying having them a bit brighter and being able to push the contrast on them. So I do enjoy them, although I do love a gorget glow myself. I've not done it for a while. I feel like I want to do it when now that I'm a bit better. I think I used to do it with just what you call it, a airbrush it like, and it was pretty bad. It was a Christmas glow as well. I did red marines and I did green glow, And
Ooh,
I
yeah.
did underneath
Yeah.
the helmet and on the top of the neck, and then glued the heads down, and I didn't look good. Whereas
It
now
can come
I
out a
feel
bit
like I would do
strong.
it better. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
have.
wasn't.
There's a night lord or two bouncing around that I need to go back and retouch up because like came out just a little bit strong. You want to glow. You don't
Yeah,
want to soak it in green. You know what I mean,
yeah.
or whatever color it is. Yeah.
It's yeah. There's better ways to do it now. I feel like I do a better job, but yeah, I do like a gorget glow. How I mean, I feel like you've painted a bunch recently. You've been an absolute machine getting 40k armies ready. Have you got like a unit that you're
Ooh,
like
I,
pressed with?
Oh yeah,
ooh.
dude. Yeah, you're the king.
I'm trying to think. It's what that's the thing. I've been in batch painting mode. But because that's the one thing I just my thing is cohesion, unit cohesion, and like those. If
And
you've
and
yes.
you have been batch painting without an airbrush, which to me makes me want
Insane.
to just jump off a bridge. Like even more power to you because like I can't even imagine.
We
I
talked
just
about that in
won't.
the green room. I have an airbrush that I have airbrush hobby paralysis with. It's sitting in the garage ready to go, and I'm yet to touch it because I'm just like I'm not sure mentally I'm ready to unlock the Pandora's box of learning a whole new skill set of a type of painting, and I know it will be great once I do it, and it'll make my
It's
life
so easy,
easier.
dude.
Yeah.
It's
But
so
it's just
easy.
that I
You
think
need to
it's the cleaning it.
rip
I
that
don't know
steel
why.
off.
Hearing all the complaints about cleaning it and the time and all that stuff, I'm just like, every time I want to, I'm like, this is the weekend. I'm gonna just pick a bunch of whatevers and just that'll be the unit. That'll be the crash test dummies, and I haven't done it yet. I'll get there.
Do you know what I see you doing? I see, like, in my mind, when you get it, you'll have two buckets next to you, one with cold brews in, cold brewskis, and the other is just with water. And all you do with two buckets, once you finish spraying, just put it all in so it's submerged and just run it until it runs clear. And then just, there you go. That's actually a
Is-
decent method. Like, I've done that. I have a,
Have you done it? I've heard of people doing that, but I've
yeah.
been afraid to do that.
Yeah,
Oh, so
it runs fine.
it's that simple. Just a little bucket full
You
of
can run
water
it
and
like
just
have a little bit of toilet paper to like sploosh it out a little bit afterwards to mark it.
yeah.
But you can just if you're worried about it, I've got like a ultrasonic cleaner every now and then. I put it through and try and clean it better.
What the
But when
hell
I'm
is an
using it,
ultrasonic cleaner? What?
it's
What?
just it's just something that goes and it seems like it's cleaning it deeply. I'm not 100% sure, but you can just literally pop it in a bucket, submerge it so that the place where the paint goes. Oh God,
The nozzle, the
not the
cup.
no, like where the cup, where the paint, where you put the paint in, where whatever that thing's called. Put it in so that's underneath the water, and it'll bubble a bunch. So make sure it's not like full, like a full paint, like a full bucket. Make sure you got a room for it to bubble over, and just run it a bunch. And that's like a real
Mm.
cheap and cheerful way of cleaning it. I don't think it kills the brush. I think it's
We'll
fine.
wait
Pot.
to see if
There you go.
Chat
Into the
gets
auto.
upset. We'll just wait to see if Chat
Yeah,
gets upset at you saying that.
it's fine.
Yeah,
And then you can do a little bit more of a clean.
I just use a spray bottle, and I have it's like but at work. I'm airbrushing so much, so many things. It's crazy, and so like I beat this thing to death. I beat airbrushes to death. I believe machines are tools, and they deserve to be beat to death
Wow.
and do their job.
He's out
So,
here kicking
Yeah.
robots, kicking first gen
Yeah.
robots into the gutter.
Yeah, once AI takes over, dude, I'm on the hit list. They're coming for me.
First in line.
I'm like raw dogging contrast through this airbrush with no thinner.
Oh yeah, you're not meant to
Over
do
zenithals.
metallics. So you do metallics as well, like a madman.
No, I have for my Iron Warriors. I'll do that. And it's totally fine. Guess what? It's lies. They can do it. It's a machine. It's meant to be
It
used.
can
Meant
do
to
it.
be
It just
pushed.
I heard it's terrible for the airbrush.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's better the airbrush than
cares?
me. You know what I mean? Better the
Because
airbrush.
if it didn't do it, you'd hit it with a hammer, and
Yeah,
that'd be
exactly.
fatal for the airbrush. You
And
just
then it
hold
would
the hammer
start
up
working.
and just go, better work.
Yep. You better do it, man.
You better
Yeah.
do it.
So airbrushes are awesome. They are not nearly as scary as you think they are. I
Mm.
once lived in fear of the airbrush, and
Me too.
I got a great deal on one. And as soon as you get into it, guess what? You're gonna clog it the first time you use it, and you're gonna be like, oh
Million
no, what is
times.
this? And then you're gonna be in it, and you'll figure it out. And also, airbrushes are much like a tech, much like a tech priest. You will learn your airbrush. Every airbrush
Yeah.
is slightly different. The airbrush that I use at home and the airbrush I use at work are identical, and guess what? They both run a little different. And I know how I know what they like, what they don't like, and so you just learn to work your machine. I know this sounds sort of stupid, but like I'm
No,
100%
it's completely it. Yeah.
and so you learn the little ins and outs, and you make it work, and then you can just push it until to the brink of exhaustion, and let it do. It's a machine. It's supposed to save you work, make it work,
Break
not
it
you.
and start again. Break it and start again.
Yeah.
This is the
Like all,
way.
all the tanks, like all for your tanks that you're painting, dude.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
imagine never having to wash it ever again. Like, dude, if you're painting like tanks, you spray it red, and guess what? You spray it with a lighter red up top, and then you give it a bath with an oil wash, and then you're done. And then you
Oh,
just
that would
paint
be
the details and you call it
amazing.
done. Like, instead of are you painting your stuff by hand, or you just spray it and then wash it? When
No,
it comes to like
so
tanks and
usually
stuff.
I'll spray to do the base, and then I will do another coat of whatever that color is by hand. Then
You're a
usually.
criminal.
What?
You're a criminal. Yeah, the allegations should be lobbied at you. You are
Wow.
the criminal. That's disgusting. Uh, I
Actually
just
kind of makes me sick.
yeah, and I can imagine
Like thinking of having to
I can
do
imagine-
that.
I can imagine closing my eyes and like rolling my finger down your tank and like just like reading braille, just feeling the
Oh
brushstroke.
yeah.
Like,
Oh
just-
God.
this is
No, because
criminal.
you thin your paints. I do it properly. Like you
How
saw.
many
you don't.
coats are you
No, you
doing?
don't. No, you don't. Nobody does.
No
When you're
one.
painting
I think no one thins their paints enough. Like
For a tank.
I see the videos of people thinning their paints. They do one coat, it looks like crap, and then they do,
Yep.
and then they don't show you it. They
Yeah,
just
don't
all
show
of a
you
sudden
after
it
that.
cuts to it looking amazing, and you're like, was that 2 coats? Or was that 3 coats that you? And I find it so hard to actually paint properly, but not with it with no airbrush. That's insane.
I'll say
You're a
this.
madman.
I'll never paint anything without an airbrush ever again. I'll never do
Wow.
it. I'll never do it. I'll never do it. I'd rather die. I'd sooner die than have to paint anything without an airbrush. There you go, dude.
Okay,
Valid.
Valid
Thoughts.
That's huge. I don't know. It fell out of my chair. Then that's huge. Like compliment to the airbrush. So I will have to. I'm gonna have to. But you guys are you're gonna hate yourselves because now I'm gonna be asking you guys direct questions. I have direct lines to you two. I will be bothering you to tell me how to do this.
I mean, I think Ben's already hit it nail on the head when he said
Just hit it
every
with a hammer.
airbrush is its own.
Yeah, just hit it with a hammer.
No,
It'll always-
I
hammer.
will be
works
flying
every time.
myself over to your houses
Yeah.
with my hairbrush in tow and be like, fix this, make this do good things. I was starting to think that potentially the airbrush is maybe cursed though, because it was like, I got it off a friend who got it as a gift and he never used it. It sat in the box because he was too afraid.
Yeah.
And
one
then
of
he
those.
handballed it to me. And then now I'm too afraid. I'm like, maybe it's the airbrush itself. Maybe it doesn't.
I thought you were
want
going to be like,
used.
he died in a car crash. He handed it to someone who died in a car crash. Now you've got
Yeah.
it and you haven't driven since. And it'd be like, don't drive, Reese. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
There is a question in the chat. It might be a bit complicated. I don't know if there's an easy answer. Ben or Russ, you might know. But Preston's asking, what's the best intro one? Is there a go-to starter airbrush? I did
Cheap.
a bit of I did a bit of research
yeah.
into it. It was a bit daunting. Cheap is probably
Yeah.
the long. The
I
short
was
answer.
going to say, for your first airbrush, if you're going from painting, you will notice such a difference just using any airbrush. The difference between a good airbrush and a bad airbrush from going from no airbrush is minimal, I think. So I think because
Yeah,
you
I
don't
agree.
know how much you're going to like it, get a cheap one that comes with a compressor, maybe a tank if you don't want to run it all the time. But honestly, it's much of a muchness. But just try anything, but go cheap, because you'll know immediately after using it, because you'll know immediately. Oh, I know it. I know what I can use this for. And once you start feeling a bit more comfortable, you're using it primarily just to do just to basically undercoat and then zenithal. And then when you're like, I'll be a bit more experimental, I'll do all my skin tones and then I'll paint. And then maybe you want to think about getting a good one. And there's some decent ones out there. There's some great ones out there. I think I use an Iwata. It's fairly decently priced one, but I've been airbrushing for a while now.
Ben, yours
Yeah,
looks
I
great.
got-
Go
There,
cheap.
what are you holding?
I got lucky. I was just trying to look at the name on mine. I got it from a buddy as well who just like was. I just don't have time for this, and so it's an Iwata Eclipse HPCS, and so that's what I'm running
Oh.
through.
We've got similar. I've got an Iwata HPC Plus.
Ooh,
yeah.
yours sounds a little fancier.
I guess. Maybe. What does yours look like?
For the discerning gentleman. Hmm.
Similar.
Yeah, I keep my back cap off because again, like I'm
Oh, is
I'm a
this
dirt
so
bag.
you can pull that
Yeah,
out a
just
little
like,
bit
I
sometimes
don't
because it
have
gets
time
stuck.
for that, dude.
I've
Yeah, I don't have time.
missed. You know what? I recently lost the screw that comes on here now, so I'm going to have to buy another one. It's in the carpet somewhere. The one that moves the pin back and forth.
Yeah,
It won't be
sucks.
expensive, but that's annoying that I've lost it because I want to do some painting.
Uh,
And I don't want to
Well,
use
there
a
you
brush
go.
because I'm not a scrub like Reese. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, rather be dead
I would
than
say committed.
Yeah,
Committed.
please.
Actually, Nave mentioned about all those tanks. I'd kind of wiped it from my memory. That was getting PTSD thinking about how long all those tanks took me again. So let's move on very quickly.
Hey, you know what? When in doubt, here's how much of a scumbag dirtbag I am. My airbrush, guess what? It's a little bit clogged right now. See what I'll do? I'll take the front piece off, so all of you can cringe. I'll take the needle, I'll put it through the back,
Turn it backwards.
and I'll turn it backwards. I'll just whoop, run it through, push it through, or I'll go backwards, and I'll just push it through. Just
Yeah.
Oh,
just
no, look.
brute force this thing. Yeah, no, it's straight up.
Good move.
And guess what? It's good to paint my next stupid space marine. It's a machine. Treat it like a machine. Be a man. Be a man for once in your god dang life. That's what I say.
I'm just gonna put that on repeat in my garage when I'm trying to use
Be
them.
a
Just
man.
be a man. Ben just berating me.
Oh, Mulan. That's a good one. Mulan's a good one, dude.
Mulan. Oh, maybe that song. Yeah, I'll go with that. That'll work too.
Mulan.
Mulan. Oh, geez. Well, look, I think that's a pretty good spot to wrap up the app. We've covered some
Mulan.
airbrush advice, some Mulan, however you want to say it, depending which side of the equator you're on. Yeah, that was we covered some ground then. Russ, how to win a tournament without winning a game was fantastic.
Yep.
Cool video on that will be coming
Yeah.
out soon. Fail to success.
You need to
That's the
seriously. If your
way.
video was called "How to Win a Kill Team Tournament Without Winning a Game," I reckon
Without
it would
winning a
blow up.
single game.
It would blow up massively.
It's gonna do great. That's definitely do good
Oh.
numbers, dude.
Thank you so much for joining us live in the chat. We totally appreciate everyone joining in there. So great to have everyone shooting their bits and pieces in there. 07's in
Whoa.
the chat to all the legends there. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for sharing your ear holes with us. Make sure you head to our fourth wall. That's where our merch store is now. You can go check out all the designs there, such as the new Cheese Chaser t-shirt. We'll have some more designs coming up soon as well. If you want to support us as well, you can also join the Patreon as well. Casual War Gamers over at the Patreon. Great way to keep the lights on and the show ticking over. Thank you as always to the very mobile Ben from Battle Brothers Tabletop on the phone today.
Thank you very much to Russ from
Oh.
GFN Gaming. Thank you, Russ.
Getting dizzy. Getting dizzy. Oh god. Thanks very much, Reese from Threes to Wound, keeping the herded cats going in a similar direction.
Similar but not the same, and that's why we
Not
like
exactly
it here at
the
the
same.
Casuals. No, we'll see you guys again next week. Thanks so much for joining us.